Earlier this week, we checked out the quarterbacks and running backs, and next up on the top 10 list is wide receivers, and this position is one of the most talented from the class of 2020. 9 of the 10 dudes featured are entering their senior season. Checking in at number 10 is one of 3 receivers from California, and up first is Corona Centennial's 4-star playmaker Gary Bryant Jr. He had a big-time junior campaign for the Inland Empire Power last season, and expect an even bigger senior year for Bryant and the Huskies. Next up at number 9 is Calabasas' 4-star Jermaine Burton. The 2020 LSU commit is one of the most explosive and well-rounded receivers in high school football. He's also one of 2 players committed to LSU to make the list. His teammate Johnny Wilson checks in at 8, and him along with Burton give Calabasas the best 1-2 duo at wide receiver. The 6'6", 225-pounder is one of the most difficult covers in the country because of his size and speed, and the 5-star checks in as a top 5 player in California on 24/7 Sports player composite rankings. The lone player from Georgia to crack the top 10 is Marietta's 5-star freak athlete Eric Gilbert. The 6'5.5" playmaker is listed as a tight end, but he can line up anywhere on the field and is the Brew McCoy of the class of 2020. Gilbert had over 1,200 yards receiving and 14 touchdowns during his junior season, and expect him in 2020 Tennessee commit Harrison Bailey to be one of the best quarterback-receiver duos in the country. The only dude from the class of 2021 featured is North Shore's 4-star Shadrick Banks. He had a monster sophomore campaign with 1,300 yards receiving and 17 touchdowns while helping lead the Mustangs to a 16-0 record, 6A Division I state championship, and a spot at number 1 in our final Excellent 25 rankings. Checking in at number 5 is one of 2 Ohio State commits featured, and up first is Eastside Catholic's G. Scott Jr. His tape is as good as any other wide receiver. He's the complete package, and expect him to have a huge senior season for one of the most talented teams in high school football. The only receiver from Florida featured checks in at number 4, and it's St. Thomas Aquinas' 5-star Marcus Rosemead. The 2020 Georgia commit is next in line to be the next big-time star from the Florida Power. The Raiders have produced a bunch of NFL players, and you can take it to the bank. Rosemead will be playing on Sundays in 4 to 5 years. The second of 2 LSU commits is up next at number 3, and it's St. John's 5-star Rakim Jarrett. He's the Antonio Brown of the class of 2020. Anytime he gets his hands on the ball, he has a chance to take it to the house. The cadets are loaded heading into the 2019 season, and expect them to begin the year in the top 5, and you can book it. Soljay Maeva and Jarrett will be one of the most dangerous duos in the game. Checking in at number 2 is Tom Ball's 5-star receiver DeMonte Miss. The 5-star playmaker is one of the sauciest dudes in the country. He had over 1,500 yards receiving and averaged over 30 yards per reception during his junior campaign. He had a game where he touched the ball 6 times and scored 6 touchdowns. He's one of the most special players in the biz. The number 1 receiver in our top 10 was named the Pennsylvania Gatorade Football Player of the Year as a junior, and it's 2020 Ohio State commit Julian Fleming. The 5-star playmaker from Southern Columbia had 1,500 yards receiving and 22 touchdowns, and was also a stud on defense. He had 4 INTs and took 3 back to the house. Ohio State has a ridiculous list of players from the class of 2020 already committed at wide receiver, and it all starts with Mr. Fleming out in Pennsylvania.